Hello, Amplify community. Welcome. We are so incredibly grateful that you are here tonight. You are in for a very special and powerful night. So thank you very much for joining us. And if you are new with us tonight, a special welcome to you. Thank you for being here. Yes, round of applause for those new. Thank you. And you probably saw our hospitality hosts. Those are the individuals that are walking around with balloons that are tied to them, and that is on purpose. They are here as like your walking information booth. So if you are new, we want you to feel extremely welcome, and they're here to help you, give you the lay of the land, and answer any questions that you have. I want to begin by thanking our sponsors tonight. So we have two individuals who helped make tonight possible, and thank you to their donations for tonight, as well as Peril Marketing. So thank you, a special thank you to them. They are a full-service digital marketing agency that powers businesses to win online through tailored marketing design and development solutions that accelerate business growth. And so tonight we have with us the owner of Peril, Amy Peril. We have with us Nate Tower and a couple of the employees as well. So Grace and Andy, I know Kathy's in the room. If you're here from Peril, will you please stand so we can give you a round of applause and thank you. Thank you for being here. So in addition to being a generous sponsor of Amplify, Peril has helped support some of the nonprofits that we work alongside and with digital marketing and messaging, which, as you know, in the nonprofit world, that is really key. So we're really grateful for Peril and the way that they show up and give back to this community. Tonight, you're going to hear the word dignity a lot. So I thought I would set the tone at the beginning of the evening to think about what is dignity. Well, dignity is a belief that every person has inherent value and worth, simply because we're created in the image of God. And this truth will be exemplified through each of our speakers tonight, so you are in for a treat hearing from our guest speaker, Sister Irene from Sisters Rising Worldwide, as well as our two incredible executive directors from Dignity Made and Operation Dignity International. Several years ago, I was traveling internationally, and I stopped in a restroom and talked to the woman who was in there, and she was cleaning the bathroom. And I said, "Hello, thank you for cleaning the restroom. How are you doing today?" And she stopped and said, "You're not talking to me, are you?" And I said, "Well, of course, yes, I'm talking to you." And she said, "Well, no one ever talks to me. People just walk past, or they ignore me altogether." So when I was thinking about dignity, that story came to mind. As I think about that's how Jesus is with us. He sees us. He knows us. He doesn't just glance at us or merely walk past, but he knows us and he sees us. So tonight you're here for powerful stories from our speakers about how they are restoring dignity in the communities where they serve. And at the end of the evening, that is your chance. That is your chance to get involved in supporting these nonprofits who are here tonight. That's the brainstorming time. And I want you to bring all of your ideas, your creativity, your imagination. This year's theme is Embrace Wonder. So I want you to embrace wonder with us, your connections to help propel these nonprofits forward. Our theme for this year, as I mentioned, Embrace Wonder, and our theme verse, "Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly all that we could ask or imagine according to the power that works within us." This is my prayer for Amplify, and it's my prayer for you as part of the Amplify community as well. Amplify, just to give you a little history, I know we have several new people in the room. I think we have 80 or 90 new people in the room tonight. So I want to just give you a little history of Amplify. Amplify was founded over 10 years ago, born out of a vision shared by a group of Christian men who believed that through the collective power and efforts and generosity of business leaders coming alongside nonprofit leaders, that there could be powerful ripples of impact in the Twin Cities and beyond. Their dream was to see communities transformed, leaders empowered, and nonprofits sustained. And over the years, there are many, many stories of God doing just that through Amplify. Take a look at this video.
The magic of what happens in an Amplify meeting is people come with their individual experiences, but the collective power of all this experience and skills makes a very powerful impact on the nonprofits that are in front of them.
It's a perfect fusion between faith, works, and having an impact on the lives of people around you.
It's a big family. It's people who are sharing their gifts and their talents with other people.
Coming out of these meetings and helping the nonprofits, it's such an enriching gift.
I always walk away feeling energized.
I get the opportunity to connect, and that's what's fulfilling for me.
It makes me feel part of something greater. And isn't that what we're all searching for, is something greater than ourselves?
Amplify was awesome at connecting me to people that were passionate about our cause, even though they didn't know our cause existed 2 hours before.
When I first came to the Amplify meetings and then started the coaching process, it was just me and a very small team of people. And now the big difference is I have 20 to 30 people, Christian business leaders in all sectors who care about me, care about Waters of Rest, and are really investing in me as a new executive director.
I just felt so alone carrying the weight of this ministry by myself. Coming alongside with Amplify, I feel like I've walked away with so much support.
It's a way to find your spot to put your faith in action. And the best thing ever is to have your faith in action.
And we're just getting started. So thank you. That gets me extremely fired up and excited for what's ahead for Amplify, because Amplify is about changing communities, strengthening our community through the power of collaboration and connection. And just being here tonight, you're a part of that and helping make an impact. So I want to talk a little bit about how do you engage with Amplify. So you can volunteer, and being here tonight is part of that. We do have a volunteer table that is going to be outside in the hallway. So when you exit tonight, it's a chance for you to sign up to volunteer if you want to get more involved with Amplify. Just to tell you a little bit, tonight we have volunteers that are helping. There's one at each table as facilitator. So that's one way. Other ways is we have coaches and we have mentors, we have consultants that walk alongside either in a group coaching or a one-on-one consultants with the nonprofits that we serve. I'm just going to tell you a little bit tonight about being in that coaching role, because you're going to see a couple of the coaches come up here in just a moment. So those coaches that we have work with the nonprofit ministries who present here, they start 3 months before this presentation. So that's 3 months of helping really peel back the onion, asking some tough questions about how are they leading their organization, how are they making a powerful impact that they truly want to make in those that they're focusing on and called to serve. Then we really work with them on building this presentation for tonight and helping them come up with that strategic ask for tonight. And then afterwards, helping them with how do they take those next steps forward to focus on and overcome that obstacle or challenge that was presented here tonight. So that's volunteering. Donating. Amplify is a nonprofit also. We serve nonprofits and business leaders, but we are a nonprofit also, so I want to talk to you a little bit about that. Many of you who are in this room generously give, and we are super grateful for that. But we know that there are others of you that we haven't asked you to have that opportunity to come alongside us and support us in that way. So we would love for you, if that's something that you would like to do, I'd love to have that conversation with you about that. Either if that's something that could be meaningful for you to give as a $50 or $100 gift per month, that's an opportunity to step in and help us become sustainable. And also just to tease something that you'll be hearing in April in our newsletter is that we have a new program for donors called our Fuelers of Amplify program. And that is for those donors who want to come alongside us at a $5,000 level or more to help us with a gift for this year and the next couple of years. And really the goal is just sustainability, so we can plan and support for the future and continue to make a difference in the ways that you're going to see and experience tonight. Sponsorship, as I mentioned at the beginning of the evening, we do look for corporate sponsors to help make tonight possible. So if you work for a company or you're an owner of a company and that's something that you would like to do, we'd love to help and have your support for our upcoming meetings in May, July, November, and December. So I'd love to talk to you about that as well. And then finally, share. Many of you do that so well. You invite people into this community, you invite people into this room. So thank you for doing that. We'd love for you to continue to do that. And then share on social media. So Marie, who's back there, who doesn't often get a chance to be seen behind the computer, will be posting something on social media after this. And we'd love for you to just share that on LinkedIn or whatever social media platform you're on. And of course, follow us on social media. All right, we're going to get on with the rest of our evening. But before we do, I'm going to just pray for us. Dear Heavenly Father, as we embrace wonder this year, we praise you for being a wonderful God who goes with us wherever we go. Thank you for being our guide and the one that we can call on always. Thank you for tonight's presenting nonprofits who stopped to wonder how they could impact and support people in the Philippines and in Ghana, West Africa. I pray that they feel encouraged by tonight with ways that they can make an even greater impact. Thank you for our speaker, Sister Irene, who believed in the power of connecting 700,000 sisters around the world to make more of a collaborative impact globally. We thank you for all of those who said yes to show up here tonight and give of themselves and support others. In all these things we pray in Jesus' name, amen. And now I'm going to pass the mic off to Ward Brem, who's going to introduce our guest speaker tonight.
Can you hear me okay? My bride says I don't talk loud enough. So if you can't just raise your hand, I'll do my best. I love this organization. I'm looking at all these smiling faces, and it's just wonderful. It's about 5 years ago, I got a call from a good friend of mine, Ed Flaherty, and he said, Ward, I want you to have breakfast with me and 3 nuns. And then he said, are you there? And I said, yeah, I'm waiting for the punchline. And I had breakfast with Irene and two sisters from Africa who went on to talk about her dream of connecting a network of over 700,000 nuns all across the world, living in some of the most impoverished neighborhoods in the world. She went on, and I just said, this is too big. This is too big. You got to, what we call proof of concept. So you're going to have to figure out a test case that we can look at. And she said, okay, give me a few days. I'll talk to the sisters. And she called me back and she said, yep, okay, we got one. We're going to work on human trafficking in El Salvador. And I said, well, why don't you start with something hard? So one of my best friends, the late Bill Bieber, and I and a few others helped sponsor this prototype in El Salvador that was an unbelievable success. And so now she's at the point of launching this thing in a bigger way. Imagine, if you will, an organization that has 700,000 employees, none of which require a salary. In fact, they've taken a vow of poverty. They can't accept a salary. People who actually live in the poorest neighborhoods all around the world, embedded. They're as poor as the people that they serve. And in that capacity, they're known, they're trusted. When we were in El Salvador, we visited some of the most dangerous neighborhoods, literally in the world, with total immunity. It has been just absolutely amazing. And when disasters hit, like they do all the time, like they're doing right now, they can't get in their, they don't get in their white trucks and drive away. They don't have any white trucks. And they have no place to go. They live in these communities and are an incredible source of encouragement and good. In 30 years of humanitarian work, I've never seen a vision so pure and so wonderful. And if Irene tends to turn during her conversation, you might see these little bumps. I think they're wings coming out of her back. So with that, I'll turn it over.
Thank you, Ward. Oh my gosh. Yeah, people wonder a lot about nuns. And one thing that they say is a nun the same thing as a sister, and a sister the same thing as a nun? And the truth is there's a little difference, but we're the ones that mix it all up. So like I talk about nuns and sisters in the same sentence, so just want you to know that. When Ward was talking about El Salvador, kind of a funny thing is that he knows a lot about the USAID, and he's connected there, and there's USAID in El Salvador. And so we went to meet him, and we told him where we were staying with the nuns, and they were like, "You got into those neighborhoods?" And yeah, of course, you want to come meet? And because the neighborhoods are so bad, but they were picturing, how do we get in there? But here are these three little nuns, they're all Salvadorian nuns that invite them in. And anyway, it's just a beautiful place. And actually, to just finish that little piece of the story, that there in El Salvador, the nuns and anybody that they serve are safe. And even the gang members will take care of the sisters and the kids and, everybody. So as long as the sisters are touching them. So anyway, so El Salvador was a great place, wasn't it? I'd go back in a second. And if any of you ever want to go to El Salvador in the worst neighborhoods in the neighborhood, let me know. I'll get you there. Keep you safe. So Sisters Rising Worldwide. Wow. It started as a thought of mine quite a while ago. People used to say to me, if I knew where the sisters were, I'd help. And I kept thinking, well, we're everywhere, if you put your arms out, right now you'd have to reach a little further. You'd bump into a nun, right? Because I'm just right here. The back tables would have a hard time. But usually, they're pretty much in your midst. And the sisters are the worst one. They're not thinking about telling people, oh, here I am and look what I'm doing. And so you don't know about it. You don't see them, you don't know about it. And when a piece of society has been healed, they move to the next part. So they just keep moving around. And I thought, how do we do this? And what I realized was that the sisters, and I don't know if you know much about sisters, but there are different orders, like the Franciscans and the Benedictines and the Dominicans, and I'm a sister of St. Joseph. So I know where the Sisters of St. Joseph are around the world, and the Dominicans know where the Dominicans are, and the Notre Dames know where they are, but they didn't cross like this. So in El Salvador, when we were working with 6 sisters, we found out later there were 2,000 in El Salvador and didn't have any idea. And so we thought, well, we got to find out how to pull these sisters together, and where was the list? So we went to the UN, some sisters and I went to the UN, where there are 44 sisters representing 200 orders around the world, which is really hundreds of thousands of people that they represent in civil society. And what they do is they tell the UN representatives what's really going on in the country. That's kind of their job. Anyway, all of these have stories that I could tell you a lot of really fun details, but I'm just going to skim over the top. And they didn't have a list. They were all silos. And I thought, oh my gosh, there they are at the UN, and they can't talk about the whole world, which we had in our hands. And so anyway, then we went to Rome, where there was another person who was in charge of all the 1900 orders. Nope, there wasn't any list there. So we had to build one. We had to figure out how to get them together. How do we get this together so that people who want to help can help? And so as God would have it, one of the sisters that I was with said, I have cousins. And it sounded right out of the Mafia movie. Now we need my cousins. And so there are 3 women. One happened to live in St. Paul. One was Michael Bloomberg's right-hand person, and one had retired at the age of 42 as a marketing communications person, and was available. And they flew into St. Paul, and I said, this is what I want. I'm making them crazy because they're waiting for me to wait for my computer. I want a map of the world, and I want to be able to click on a country and find where the nuns are. And I want to know what they're doing and what they need. And all of us knew for a fact that all of the sisters, all 700,000 of those sisters, know what the root cause is to the poverty around them because they live there. And the root cause, as you know, is cheaper than doing with lifelong symptoms. So if you're preventing trafficking rather than working with somebody who has been saved from trafficking, one is a lot cheaper than everything that happens for the rest of that person's life who's been trafficked and rescued. So I said what I wanted, and we got it built, and now I'm at the computer, and they can show it on the side. This is behind the scenes. Nobody ever sees this, hardly. See if they can pull it up for you. While they're clicking it in, I want to say that the 700,000 sisters, when you think about them, I want you to think about you, because imagine every sister knowing one person who says, I want to help. And so now it's now 1,400,000, right? But the sisters know hundreds of people. So the network that I'm going to be showing you here really represents hundreds of thousands of people who are working. When we're sleeping, they're awake and working, and when they're sleeping, we're awake and working, around the world 24/7, helping people. And so this is what we call the Peace Room. You can see it. I don't know why it's going dark. It's showing up on my place. The Peace Room is, I'm just going to show you this. So this is my map, right? I got it. They said it would cost $1 million to build this, by the way, and we found a technology company that said we've never been asked to build something to make the world better. We'll only charge $350,000. It was fantastic. Which, by the way, I got in 2 gifts, which is really great. So here, does it look big up there for you? It looks really small over there for me. Okay, all right. So here is a world view. And this shows right now, so like see as orange, blue, green, red, and all these are the same. So if I wanted to see just the people, I click on that, and just the people come up. I just want to show you sort of how we use this thing. If I want to see how many programs are on it right now, I could just click on programs. Ones that if I want to see what we've funded already, 102 programs. This Peace Room has only been here for 4 years. So there's 700,000 sisters, right? Here, we have on the Peace Room right now only 372. But one of those sisters is in charge of 8,000 sisters in Nigeria. Another one of those sisters in charge of all the sisters in the sub-Saharan countries on the continent of Africa. And they're all spreading the word. So it's starting to spread faster. And we want to make sure that we can keep up with it. But we have, so anyway, that's how many people are in here. Programs. We can look at, if I wanted to go and see, who in here of the sisters are working in health. Do you see how it changes? Or if I want to see who in here is working on human trafficking. And what's important about that is that the sisters have incredible expertise, as you can imagine, and they share it with each other. Education's another one that, all of these titles, so let me see, where's education? There's education. And it switches. So that's one way that we can sort. Now let me just go to India. Here are the sisters that are online for India. We don't go down to the zip code. You can see areas of where they are in the country. We don't mark it to the zip code because a lot of them are in dangerous areas. And we're protecting the sisters. So, but you get pretty close to where they are. So if I were to go to Swamp now, let's just see what she does. So I click on her, and I find out what she's doing, or who she is a little bit. When she joined the Peace Room, what she does. She's a Sister of St. Joseph, yay. She's in administration, basically. So she's in leadership. So she could have 900 sisters under her. And those sisters are working in education, empowering women, environment, job training, health. So they're doing a lot of different things there. But she has a program herself. So she's not only running, being in administration, but she also has a program. I'll click on the program, and up it comes. It's an education program. So here on the left, you see all the programs that are open in India that we're working on. And this is the one that she is. And what we ask the sisters for is, tell us, what is the problem? What is the poverty that's around you? And then we say, what's the cause of that? So there it says, root cause of injustice. Why is it? So what the problem here is that, I don't know if you can't read it from there, I'm sure, is basically that the literacy rate in the Assam Valley has increased, yet still 75% of the population is illiterate. And what happens is they're in a rural area and the government just doesn't care. And so that's where the sisters go. They move in, they live there, and they figure out what to do. But the problem is that the kids, what they're doing is they have them, the parents have them working in a tea farm. And so they get some education and then they're pulled out to work. Well, what the sisters are doing, they don't just start another school, because there are schools, but what they do is they're providing a bridging so that they can bridge the children so that they can get back to school. Does that make sense? Okay, so it's not just, we'll just build a school. It's trying to use the resources that they have there. So anyway, so that's what they say. So then here it says, what are you going to do about it? Okay, so that, the government doesn't care. They've dropped out. They're working for tea. So they're going to try to have bridging classes for them. So they hold the classes. And then they show pictures and, whatever. When a sister asks for funding, what happens is that Sisters Rising Worldwide then takes that information and we put it on our public website. So I just switched out of the Peace Room, which is private for sisters. Does that make sense? I know this is, I'm so afraid this is going to sound confusing to you. Okay, then we put it in the public website. So if you went into srw.org, you would find the programs that we're funding now, that the sisters are saying, this is what we need. And so right now, we're just at the end, we do it every quarter. We fund programs every quarter. So we're just now uploading new ones. So right now we have, I'm in C-funded programs. So these are ones that we just funded, I guess. So in Kenya, there was environment. In Nigeria, it was education. Another Kenya, it was domestic violence. So you can see the variety that the sisters are doing. Again, a couple in Kenya. Here's hospital, healthcare, education, job training. Does it make sense? Okay, all right. So when I go back to the Peace Room, what we can do is find the sisters now. We can find out what they're doing. We can tell people what they're doing. But when people say, I want to help, how do I help the sisters? And there's a lot of ways to help. I mean, sometimes it's information. Last month already, it was figuring out how to get a ship into the port at Kenya. And I happen to know a shipper. I mean, what is that? So random, right? Anyway, the shipper knew how to help get this ship into a port that they weren't accepting because their paperwork was funny. But he knew how to fix the paperwork. So it's like what you all do. It's helping in that kind of way where it's like, how do you make this just move further? So because that person knew how to help the paperwork in the shipping, they were able to get the hospital completely outfitted. So when I look at this map, when I go back, I see stories that are just like mind-blowing. You know, the Ukraine. Okay, picture that. Everything's being bombed out. And so, well, the nuns are there. So what are they doing? They asked us for a truck because their truck had broken down, and they're driving people who want to get out of the country. And then they just come back. And then they drive the other ones to the trains, and then they come back. They're still there. They never moved. They built a bomb shelter for some kindergarten kids. They helped doing that. I mean, so the stories are right close to the ground. You know what people are really experiencing. That was, and then another story is that when the people went to, as they left Ukraine and they're going across Europe, they end up in Germany, and the sisters have big convents. You know what they are? I mean, they're big buildings and have a lot of rooms in them and stuff. Well, there were a lot of people in this convent, and it was about 4:30 in the afternoon, and a family of 7 came to the doorstep. And the sisters just could not say, "We have no room." It was filled. And so they're the Notre Dame sisters, and they have sisters here in Minnesota. So you know what they did? They called the sister in Minnesota and said, "Can you help us?" And she's like, "Wow." All right, this is Germany calling me, the family of 7 in there. And what happened was is she said, let me call Irene. Let me see if she can help. And I happen to know somebody in Poland who worked in housing, and he said, let's get on a Zoom right now. We got on a Zoom, and he said, I can find a house for them tonight. And it's like, how does that work? Well, they partner with Airbnb. And so what Sisters Rising Worldwide does is we can find the people on the ground. We're connecting people with resources, whatever they are. We're a piece of the pie. And when I think of, you know, what does our piece of the pie look like? It's like a backbone for the whole planet. We are in every country. And around that backbone are all these limbs, because every sister is surrounded by hundreds of people that says, I'll help you, I'm in, and we're not paying them. And so when you think about connecting that network and knowing that it exists, I always tell people when they're going away, if they're, you know, the kids that travel on their, you know, for high school or college, I always say, get a number of a nun in a back pocket, and so that they're always connected somehow. They'd be safe. And a lot of them have. And they're international, you know, because most of the orders are international. And when they're international, they're connected to healthcare. They're connected to people. And what it is if everybody helped the person next to you, we'd be all good, right? So that's basically what it is. It's just helping right there. So the nuns never feel like they have a story to tell. Isn't that crazy? And I think about what they're doing, and some of the stories that we have are just mind-blowing, but they just don't think that way. And so we're trying to let people know, particularly in our world today, that it's possible with the numbers of us and the numbers of the sisters, and I'm saying us meaning all of us even in this room and all of your contacts, that we could switch the trajectory of the world from fear and war to peace and love. We really could. We outnumber people by billions, actually. And so if you think about, how am I connected? What am I doing? And if you don't know where in the country, I need to know what's happening in the Congo. Right now, probably the people who are there, because a lot of the NGOs had to leave, it's dangerous, and the nuns stay there. If you call me, or you go on the website, I'll find you a nun who could give you, this is the information that's going on there. So, I mean, it's really, you could get the name of the people that you're helping right away. So it's pretty, it's pretty mind-boggling when I think about the big story of it. So, anyway, I just heard, wow. Anybody else feeling like that? What is it? Okay, I know. See, it's a big story. That's why Ward was saying, let's prove the contest. Let's prove what is that? The word's not coming to my mouth. Concept. let's prove the concept first because it is so big. But it's working, and it is just expanding like crazy. So there you go. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Sister Irene. Don't you love this? There's so much about this, her story, that it's, one, it's the technology. Two, it's the power of connection, right? The power of connection to be able to find those kids a place to stay, right? That wouldn't have happened before without you having a way for these sisters to be able to connect with each other and share their need. And then also telling the stories. They're just there doing the work. They're paying attention and focusing on those right in front of them, which is great for all of us as a story. But they weren't sharing the stories, but now we get to benefit from hearing those stories, and others get to learn from them as well. So thank you. Thank you so much. All right, I have another fun story for you. Who was here in the room last May when Bravo Zulu House, they presented? Show of hands. We have some. See, that's how many new people have been coming, which is so exciting. But great, I'm glad that we have some. Well, what happened is Bravo Zulu House, the first all-military sober home, was with us as one of the presenting nonprofits. And they had an ask that night, can you help me increase awareness and help me with my messaging, my storytelling, to expand the donor pool because they wanted to raise money to open that home. So as the result, Tim, the executive director, continued working alongside Amplify partners. He's been working on his messaging, he's been working on his storytelling, and getting out there in front of donors. And because of some of that work, they were able to officially break ground in September, and they're opening up that home this May. And so I want to show you just a little video from Tim Murray, the executive director.
Hello, all of God's children out there. This is Tim Murray and Colonel Father Martin Fleming. Just letting you know what a terrific experience we had with Amplify. We went in a bit skeptical as to whether or not ultimately would they understand our model, would they have a passion or an understanding for our mission, and we were wonderfully exceeded our expectations. We got great clarity in terms of our messaging. We picked up some wonderful friends. We picked up new donors, but most importantly, we were able to take this lump of coal of these key messages and distill it down into one core key message. And the result of that is that up until that point, we had raised about $250,000 towards our $1.2 million effort. And after that, we've since raised $750,000. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Amplify. Thank God for the great ministry that you're doing. Father Fleming in heaven says to say thank you as well.
All right. Well, those of you who have met Tim, that's Tim for you. So we love it. But this is really what Amplify is all about. This is exactly what Tim shared, is that when you show up here, your ideas, your connections, your powerful storytelling that helps Tim get his clear message right, helps create that incredible momentum and ripples of impact for the organizations. So now it's your turn. We're going to pull out your feedback form, as you see on the screen there, for you to create that same kind of impact for the two nonprofits that are here tonight. So we have Dignity Made and Operation Dignity International. So there's a place for you to put your name at the top of the form, so I'd love for you to do that. This form is used while the nonprofits are presenting for you to write down your ideas, your encouragement, your thoughts, and any of your connections. Yep, there's dignity in both of them. That's right. Write down what goes on this form will be given to the executive directors after tonight, so it's extremely valuable information for them. So anything that you might have to help them or help support them while they're presenting, your notes can go here. Also, there's a box of practical needs for both of the nonprofits presenting tonight. If you think that you can meet one of those needs, we'd love for you to check that box and let us know how, or if you have a good connection for them, please put that information there. Now I'd like to invite up Nate Tower, who is going to introduce our first presenting nonprofit.
Thank you. Sister Irene, I just want to say that is a magnificent piece of software, and you got a really good deal at $350,000. So over the past 3 months, I've had the pleasure of getting to know Eric Olson, CEO of Dignity Made, and I'm really looking forward to listening to him tell his story tonight. As I've gotten to know him, I have just seen the passion pour out of him and seen how much he cares about this mission that he has to help people in the Philippines get out of exploitation. And he's using coconuts to do it, of all things. When Eric and I first started talking, I got to know him as I could tell he's got an entrepreneurial spirit to him, but not necessarily in the same way that we often think of entrepreneurs. When he was 18, he started his first business, and part of that business was to help him pay for tuition, but a big part of it was also to help his friends so that they would have jobs. And that's been part of who Eric is for his whole life, is finding ways to help people through business, through economic means. After he graduated from college, he spent 10 years doing missionary work in some of the most poverty-stricken places in the world. And in 2012, he teamed up with his father-in-law to build Dignity Made, this company, this incredible company that you're going to hear about tonight. And we have a little video that we're going to start with to have Eric come out and tell his story. And cue the video, please.
This morning, over 30 million women and children woke up without the choice of what they'll do or who touches their body. We're told we can either drop everything and jump into the trenches or make a donation. But I found a third way that makes it easy to fight back. For families at risk here in the rural Philippines, income from farming is not enough, and there's no jobs to make ends meet. Desperate, they send family members far away to find work where they're often trafficked. We tried to solve this with nonprofit work, but it didn't solve the root of the problem, lack of income. So we did something different. We created a coconut company to create hundreds of jobs in fair trade by making award-winning food and beauty products. So when you choose dignity, you keep families together and you prevent trafficking and help families thrive with clean water, skills, education, and hope. Right now, right where you are, you can join the fight against trafficking. Choose dignity, because dignity changes everything.
So it's just been a huge honor to work with Eric for the past 3 months, and I'm really excited to see his presentation and to see how we can all get together and help him achieve this incredible mission together. Here's Eric. Thank you.
I met the Tamogue family years ago, and they're coconut farmers in rural Philippines, and they live in extreme poverty. They can afford only a limited diet of rice, coconuts, yams, corn, and eggs. They have no savings, so when there's a bad harvest or when there's a typhoon, they don't eat. They drink unclean water, so they're often sick and have diarrhea. They have no health insurance, so when they're sick, they can't get medical care. Their parents, Romer and Jovi, they dropped out of school by 7th grade to help provide for their family. And if something doesn't change, the children, Cherry, Roel, and Mel, will have to do the same. To make ends meet, Jovi took a 2-year contract to be a maid in Oman. But she's scared because she's not going to see her kids for 2 years. But worse, she's heard stories of women being abused, raped by their employers, and some being trafficked. They go to Mass on the holidays, but they can't believe that a loving God would let their kids cry themselves to sleep because they're simply hungry. There are 3.5 million coconut farmers in the Philippines. 50% of them live in this extreme poverty, living on less than $2 a day, like the Tamogs. And 90% live below the Philippines poverty line of $7 a day. 99% are drinking unclean water, so they have constant cycles of sickness and diarrhea. 59% drop out of school by 7th grade, and half experience food shortages for at least 3 months out of the year. And this poor nutrition leads to birth defects, underdeveloped brains, and lower immune systems. My father and I, we spent decades in Christian nonprofit work. In this specific area, we built an orphanage, a high school, and a micro business. And we were doing good nonprofit work, and it wasn't enough. We couldn't lift this community out of the depths of poverty. So we dug deeper, and we did surveys with families like the Tamogs. And as we walked out of the little bamboo hut, we asked Romer, what's your biggest hope and dream for your life? And we thought he would talk about education for his kids, that all three could get their high school degree. Or maybe that he could have a cinder block home, so when the typhoons came through, it didn't knock over his house. But instead, he looked at us and he said, my biggest hope in life is that my debt is not passed on to my children. And it was then that we realized there was this ugly side to the coconut industry that we didn't see before, and it's exploiting coconut farmers. When there's a bad harvest or kids get sick, the coconut buyers come and they offer these loans that sound great, but come at a high cost, often over 200% interest rates. The locals, they have a term for this. They call it copra slavery. And with their backs against the walls, they have to either give up their land to pay off the debt, or families split up with a parent or a child having to take a job far away as maybe a maid or a waitress. And this is where the abuse starts, and this is the beginning of so many stories of trafficking. With all the stress that they're already carrying, this just brings families to a breaking point. So we believe that economic problems need an economic solution. So we created Dignity Made to stop this coconut slavery. And we built what we like to call a community transformation plant. So we've helped 156 farmer families escape these predatory loans. These are independent farms, usually 2 to 8 acres of land. We've hired another 114 workers from the farmer families to work at the transformation plant. So how it works is we create good jobs for people. We have good income for our farmers, and that stimulates the local economy. And at the same time, we're doing good community development work. So we're improving healthcare, creating clean water. We're introducing mobile banking so people can start savings accounts. We're doing education and training, teaching on things like health and hygiene, financial literacy, skills training, livelihood projects, improving crop yield, and scholarship programs. When we first hired Angeline, she was illiterate. So we were surprised when a few years later we received this handwritten note from her. And it said this: my physical and spiritual life is so bright. My child can now go to high school. I'm no longer addicted to gambling or fighting with my husband. I have new hope for my family. I have confidence. I'm always smiling now and helping others. I can't explain fully the overflowing joy that's happening in my life, and it's spreading to the whole community. Thank you for giving us hope. Thank you for giving us dignity. Life was hard for Ivy and her family as coconut farmers. And in 2015, they started selling their coconuts to Dignity. Life got better. They were able to put food on the table. And Ivy and her siblings were all able to graduate from high school. And Ivy was able to do what only 1% of the people in this area could do, and she went to college. She got a degree in food technology, and even though she had offers from big national corporations, she decided to go back to her hometown. And she works at Dignity Made now as our production supervisor. This is what it looks like to have dignity, to have choices. It's going from saying, I'm in need, I'm desperate, I don't have anything to offer, to say, I'm important, I have worth, I have something to offer. That's dignity. And that's what we're restoring for people here. And the impact, it's been remarkable. In my decades of Christian missions work, I'm really amazed by what we're able to do. And I think it's because we're combining the economic engine of business with the best practices of community development work. So, what kind of business is this? We make award-winning products that stop copra slavery. We make raw virgin coconut oil. Some of you might use this on your skin, hair, or cooking or baking. We also make vegan lip balms, and so they heal and protect your lips without the toxic chemicals that are found in most of your lip balms. We also make eco makeup remover kits and skin detox kits. And my coaches asked me to bring some products, so I have them out in the back. I hope you get a chance to try them. Our main product is this virgin coconut oil. It's 100% raw. It has 4 times the antioxidants. It's organic, fair trade. And this month, we just received an award from the International Taste Institute, giving us the Superior Taste Award, the highest they give. And probably my favorite part is that each jar is signed by the worker who made it. And so you can look up the QR code and see, oh, this one's Ivy Joy. You can see Ivy Joy's story and see the transformation that's happened in her life. We're in about 1,000 locations in retail stores. You might recognize Coburn's and Amazon. And when stacked against the rest, we are uniquely better than the competition. Some of you might be wondering about how big is this category? Just the virgin coconut oil alone is $1.2 billion, growing at a 9% rate. And that's driven by multiple applications. Well, our goal is that we would have a self-sustaining model where profits fund growth and impact. Unfortunately, on our road to sustainability, we've had some major setbacks. In 2019, Super Typhoon Tisoi knocked over 21,000 of our coconut trees. We had 3 more super typhoons, and then on the heels of that was the global pandemic. Our business should have died. It's only by God's grace that we survived. The last 2 years, we've had inventory again, so we've been able to grow at a 14% each year. For those of you who like spreadsheets, here's our pro forma. And at a 14% increase in sales, it's going to take us 5 years. We currently have to raise donations from individuals to cover this shortfall. And guys, I'm tired of fundraising. I want to shorten this time period. And so I want to accelerate the sales to be able to get to sustainability faster. So here's my ask. How can we increase customers so that we can restore dignity for more families? Well, if you're going to want to discuss that at your tables, you're going to need to know a little bit more about what we're doing currently with marketing. So our target market is the millennial mom. Many other people who are not millennials buy our product too, men is included, but this is our target. It's the women who value health for their family. They're looking for a higher quality product. They care about sustainability, and they're willing to pay a little bit more to help the poor or those that are in trafficking. We intentionally have a higher price point because of the quality product and the way we treat our farmers and our workers. And this target market is willing to pay for that. When we think of getting new customers, we often think of it as a funnel. At the top, it's awareness. And that creates interest, desire, and then at the end, it's a decision to buy that product. And for us, our biggest problem is awareness. People don't know about us. As a show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you, this is the first time hearing about Dignity Made through Amplify, the emails and all that kind of, yeah, you didn't know we existed. We have millions of people who would love to buy our product and become customers, and they don't know we exist. Well, some of the tools that we're using currently in marketing, we're utilizing paid media, so advertising on a very small budget. We do earned media, so that's trying to get on TV or podcasts or to get bloggers to write about us for free. We try to get into new retail stores so that people see us on the shelf and pick us up, take us home. And then this all hinges on having good content. I have 2 part-time marketing gals. They're fantastic, and they're working on giveaway partnerships, influencers, educational promo videos, social media, and email and SMS campaigns. And people love Dignity. On a small scale, it's been amazing to see the reactions from people. We get fantastic reviews on Amazon. I get love letters telling me how great our product is. And we have influencers who post about us for free, just raving about how great the product is and the mission. And again, I brought some of these products you can try yourself. We're giving anybody who orders over $100 or does a subscription, you can go home with a free t-shirt. And these are great gifts. Mother's Day's coming up. And we've even gotten some press coverage. And on a small scale, it's going well, but it lacks the better traction and engagement we really need to get to sustainability. So, I'd like to accelerate growth because there's a lot at stake. If we lose momentum or we lose some of these big retailers, 2,000 people lose their job or go back to exploitation. Now, if we can stay on this 5-year trajectory, another 2,000 people are stuck waiting in exploitation. I have stacks of applications of farmers who want to join Dignity or they want to work at Dignity. And it breaks my heart because I know how desperate their situation is and how bad they just want a job or they want to sell their coconuts at a fair price. The Tamogs, I don't think they can wait 5 years. But there's a bigger vision behind Dignity Made. If we can make Dignity Made self-sustaining, we can replicate this to new locations. We can go beyond coconuts. I think coconuts are great and it's a superfood, but there are other products we could get into, mangoes, textiles, and other things, using this same model of the economic engine with the best practices of community development that would change the world. And the ultimate vision is really to inspire other business leaders, that they would utilize their business to have this kind of redemptive impact on the world. Historically, business leaders are told to stack chairs to stay humble and write your checks. But what if we could empower them to say, no, God's given you a business to not only just treat people well, but to use it and have a kingdom impact on the world. We've proven this can work. There's success already. We have the sales. We just need to increase the sales. Oftentimes people will use the old adage, so you're like teaching people to fish instead of giving them a fish. Not quite. Because the people, they know how to fish. But there's powerful people that control the lake. They don't have access to the lake. What Dignity is doing is we're a bridge, and we're connecting those farmers to you, the customer, so that they have a bridge and access to the global marketplace. So back to my ask. How can we increase awareness and sales so that we can restore dignity for more families? Thank you.
Isn't this powerful? Aren't you just ready to dive in? I know, but that's coming up in a minute. First, I want to introduce our next nonprofit. You're going to be blown away with Kathy, who's going to share as well. So Rebecca, would you come up, one of our fabulous coaches, and introduce? Oh, Chet is going to. Okay, sorry, Chet. Sorry. All right, Chet, will you come up and introduce Kathy Sullivan tonight? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the introduction, Andrea. 9 months ago, I had the opportunity to hear the story about the people of Ghana, West Africa, and how many don't have water, clean water, education, medical supplies, and the ability to have a ability to earn a living. So I partnered and I stepped up, and I got to know Dr. Kathy Sullivan and the work she's doing for the Ghanaians. Operation Dignity International was founded in 2007, and Dr. Kathy Sullivan is the co-founder and currently serves as the executive director. She received her BA in business from Trinity International University. She's a graduate from Bethel University with an emphasis in international business and leadership. And then she received her PhD in business technology, industrial and organizational psychology from North Central University. A few fun facts about Dr. Kathy. In 5th grade, she was recognized for her teaching abilities. She was selected to assist as a substitute teacher in 5th grade. She's a mom to 8 children, 20 plus grandchildren, and I found out today 4 great-grandchildren. Currently, she serves on the board of an organization called Ambassadors for Business, and she's also a trained pianist. I'd like to welcome my friend, Dr. Kathy Sullivan.
Chet, your picture would have just as pretty up there as Rebecca's was. So let me ask you a quick question. Marie, is that timer always up there? Okay. Then would you take my phone? I'm going to turn my timer off, okay? I want you to listen carefully to the story, because the question I'm going to ask you at the end is, how can I better tell the story to move hearts here in this room and the beyond? Once upon a time, don't you love it when a story starts that way? Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, in a faraway land called Texas, was a little girl. This little girl was pretty perfect. Perfect at school, perfect at home, and certainly perfect at church. And yet, in another distant land called Chicago, was a little boy named Jim. He was not so perfect. He was a mean little boy, a bully. He was the kind your mother would say, "Stay away from that Jim, he's bad for business." Little did Kathy know, but that man, Jim, would be the man of her dreams. So Kathy and Jim met. They got married. Jim became a pastor, which is a miracle in itself, and another story for another day. They had 8 children, 3 stepchildren, 3 biological and 2 adopted, had been married 35 years, and then God called them to a place far across the ocean, to a land called Ghana. In 2007, Operation Dignity became a reality. Jim spent the first 3 years just listening in Ghana to the people, to their dreams. We didn't actually start taking action until 2010. Operation Dignity became the organization that was going to alleviate the poverty in those very, very rural villages. That was our mission and passion. Our vision, our passion, or our mission is that we want to see lives transformed. Now, if you're going to transform something, it has to go from here to there, from something to something. And so we see lives being transformed from barely surviving to thriving. Our vision is to see that every child, every family, and every village has a better tomorrow than they did today. Let me share with you a few facts about Ghana. 27 million people in the country of Ghana. It's about the size of Oregon. There is one doctor or one medical person per 35,000 people. And just to give you a perspective, there's one here in the United States, one doctor for every 250 people. We're working in the Bono East region, which is right there in the heart of Ghana. There's 1.1 million people there. That's the audience. That's where I'm serving. 95% of the people in the Bono East region are farmers. Next one, Marie. Most of those are villagers who live on less than $1 a day. That less than $1 a day brings a scarcity of food, water, shelter. It leads to a vulnerability of disease, health and food insecurity, economic instability, and a lack of physical safety. So what if I were to tell you, though, that the problem of poverty is not really a cash flow or poverty? What if I was to tell you that the real problem in Ghana is the infrastructure and systems? They're like the engine that drives the community, and they're stalled and they're sputtering. And what we need is something to prime that engine so that they can work better for themselves, because you see, they want to do that. They don't want me to be there all the time helping them. That's what dignity is about. It's them helping themselves. So if the problem wasn't poverty, if the problem was the infrastructure and systems, what do? Resource and knowledge. What if we were able to fill the gaps? What if we were able to break through the barriers that are coming against all those things in poverty? We do what we're calling Community 360. We looked around the room, we looked around the communities, we looked around the people that we were serving, and we said, what are the drivers of change? What are the impact change positions that are here? So we call it a complete community experience. And we looked at the economic engine of farming, the wellness engine of healthcare and hygiene, and the passion for learning, which is their education system. So let's talk a little bit about the farming as an engine. There's two fields here. One is not like the other. I had a farmer on my board, and he went to Ghana with my husband several times. And you know what he said? We can do something here. So he brought a soil scientist with him to Ghana, and they said together, we can do something here. So those two people formed an organization, a for-profit organization called Gus Farming Ghana. They're working in Ghana with 25 other farmers from the Rochester and Southeast Minnesota area. And what they're doing is they're creating a model of what it looks like to grow corn in Ghana and other good things. You see, because if they can't see it, they don't know what a good crop looks like. If you're on this crop all the time, how would you even begin to think that there was something different that you could do? The other thing that we're using as a spark to ignite that engine is I'm working with the systems within Ghana, such as the Department of Food and Agriculture and the Extension Department. We're experimenting this year with 10 farmers. They'll go to training with Gus Farming. I'll provide the fertilizer and seed that they need to get started. They'll come to another training, and they'll get the next part that they need in that field. And with those 10 farmers, then we're working with the Extension Department next year, and the Extension Department is going to help provide the product while working with Gus Farming to provide the knowledge and information. We have 500 acres in Ghana, Operation Dignity does. And on those 500 acres, 250 are already being farming. And that's our model farm, as well as the land that these for-profit farmers have taken. The wellness engine is what we're working with healthcare and hygiene. This is a team that I took last year. Now, you might recognize some of the faces in this picture here. It was a wonderful trip. What we did is we worked side by side with the people in the healthcare system in Ghana. They taught us, and we taught them. I'm working with the district supervisor and administrator of this clinic. And because we're learning from them, we're also able to do some things for them that's going to ignite that spark to start the engine. They asked me for a lawnmower, so we gave it to them. They asked me to paint the building inside and out, and we did it. They asked me to fix the screens, and we did it. They asked me to build a patient center at the back of it, and we did that so that we can open up a laboratory inside that building. Currently, it takes them 2 to 3 weeks to be able to receive results from a test that they have to send hours away to a lab. If we can put that lab right there in that clinic, then the diagnosis and the cure can happen right away. We also have a learning engine called the education system there. And because we're sparking the engine, I have to work within the system. So we're working with the district supervisor of education, as well as the assemblyman around this area, as well as the headmasters at the school. Through what we're doing, we want to see a spark and a passion for learning. Because, you know, if they cannot see it, they cannot dream it, and they cannot think beyond. So this passion for information will hopefully ignite a trend that will change the generations. We're working with incentives to be able to take the people from here to there. Simple little things such as uniforms, pencils, textbooks, even a fan to create circulation in the room. Last year, in 2024, we were able to reach over 20,000 people with these engines that we're working with. That may seem successful, but remember, my audience is 1.1 million. So my next year, my next 5 years, my hairy, audacious goals, they call it, is to be able to see 10 new or refurbished clean water wells in villages, to be able to see latrines put in these villages so there's not excrement laying all over the place, to see 10 new libraries filled with 2,000 early reading and picture books. If they can see it, they can dream it. 10 new or refurbished healthcare centers so that we can prime the engine of them taking care of the people. We provided 2 motorbikes. And last week, I got my first report, good report, from the medical center that we were working with, that they treated 250 people because we helped provide medicines for them, because we gave them the motorbikes or the transportation that took them out to the villages, and they didn't have that before. So they were expected to do a job that they had no tools or equipment to do. And in the next 5 years, I want to see 500 farmers move from getting less than 25 bushels per acre to be able to grow to 75 bushels per acre. Now you look at our income and expenses, and we're pretty traditional in that. See that little blue slice at the top of the income? That's my residual income that comes from ODI having a farm there that's being leased by Gus Farming. So that's money I can reinsert back into the community immediately. More than 90% of all the income goes to the people in Ghana, to the programs. Even the payroll in the general office you see here, it includes programs for in Ghana, the people in Ghana that we're helping. So what's my goal for next year? $250,000. It costs me $10 a day to reach somebody. Let me tell you what that means. There was a 4-year-old that we just paid for their hospital stay. That 4-year-old had sickle cell anemia. The only thing that they knew before she went to the hospital is that she couldn't walk. But because we were able to put her in that hospital and take care of her, that little girl now can not be cured from it, but she can receive treatment. We purchased medicine for the chief's wife. Now you're going to laugh at this, because what we found out is that she was becoming an instigator in the village. And somebody told me, oh, she just has high blood pressure and can't afford the medicine. I said, let's see if she has the medicine that will help the instigation in the village. And it's beginning to work. What a simple little price to pay for peace, right? There was a 15-year-old that had parasites all over his wound, all over his foot. And they had no money to be able to take care of it. And because Operation Dignity was there, they could do so. I'm going to go back a little bit. In one of the pictures that you saw, there was a little boy with this carotid gland that was infected. Miss Carla was with me on that trip. Because we had a surgeon with us on that medical team, they treated that young boy who had been sent home from the hospital and said, there's nothing we can do. That little boy, we named him Bruiser, is running around the village today. The doctor told me afterwards, he was a week away from death. Because Operation Dignity was present and because we're working within their systems, there is a difference that can be made. How do we get there? I need to grow the revenue by 25% in the next 5 years, or 25% each year. I need to secure 2 farmers. If you're a farmer out there, listen to me, okay? I need 2 farmers to go work as 2 farm managers in Ghana for 2 years. So 2 farmers, 2 years in Ghana to work as farm managers. I would love to lead 5 short-term trips to Ghana. I'm taking one this summer. I took one last summer. We were interrupted because of COVID and because of Ebola. But you know what? We're getting started again. It doesn't always have to be medical. It could be a group of library people who want to just go read to the children in Ghana because nobody reads to them. They have no books. The parents don't read, so nobody reads a book to the children. Medical, businesses, any kind of trip we can facilitate. I need to identify some subject matter experts in education, healthcare, and economic development who can help me and collaborate with me on this side of the ocean so that we can build a better system there. Not build a better system, but be that engine that creates that spark that's going to make their systems work better. Now you're going to say to me, so you're all there all the time, Kathy. No, I'm not, because you see, we have an exit strategy. If we create a model, and if we spark the engine, and if we do it right, that engine will continue running in Ghana so that they will take care of themselves. That's dignity. Because you see, they don't want me there all the time. They love to see me come, they hate to see me go, but they want me near them all the time. And the people that I bring. But they don't want to have to depend upon me all the time. So we have a model. We intend to pass the baton. We're creating transferable and replicatable models so that the ASHIM clinic that I'm working at right now, that report that they just created, they can now go to the second clinic that I'm working with and they can show them how to do it. So you're going to say to me, Mama Kathy, I hear a lot of business, but what about the gospel? Well, you see, because we're building relationships, we're building the trust. To them, God is distant. God is one of many gods who is the God who doesn't answer prayers. They have no hope, especially in this God that we call God Almighty. Hope cannot thrive with empty stomachs, with empty tummies, with sickness and relentless labor. So you see, we're there to walk alongside them, to walk in their shoes, to share their life with them, not to expect them to share their life with us. We're there to be with them. And in doing so, this side-by-side walking means that every day we have an opportunity to be able to tell them about Jesus. My husband always had this philosophy. If we keep doing the good, one day they'll come to us and they'll say, why are you doing what you're doing? And you know the answer, Jesus. So we're not inspiring dreams, we're making them possible. I have this little video to show you. It's not as professional as Eric's was. Oh, can you hold on just a minute? So the first part of it is, we were there, Stephanie was with me, to present 100 uniforms to this one village school. They were coming unglued in the classrooms when we walked up. And then when they were released, it was this U-shaped schoolroom, and we were hammered by all the kids there with joy and delight and glee. The second part of this video is this old lady who thinks she's dancing. We're not going to tell her any different, okay? The third is the district supervisor of healthcare in Ghana, in the Bono East region, and he's dancing and singing with some of his nurses. It's amazing. And then the last one that's part of this video is, I had some of my team dancing their hearts into the lives of the Ghanaians. Now they do much better than that old lady. Okay, Marie. It's not going beyond? Okay, well, you missed that chubby old lady dancing. It was a sight, let me tell you. So there's a song in the heart of Ghana. It's there all the time. We found it, and we connect with it. And again, my question for you tonight is, how can I better tell the story to create a more compelling story that leads to future engagement? And I'm going to share, do I have time to share this last part of this last slide? This is a verse that my late husband and I always used. We have been anointed to make a difference. This verse is what transformation looks like. Thank you.
Both of the executive directors did such a fabulous job sharing their stories tonight. And I'm so proud of them. It's been really, really fun. If you get to be a coach, you get to see where they start in their storytelling process and talking about their organizations to where they end up tonight. And I think every coach that's done that before sees that as really a gift. So proud of both of the executive directors tonight and what they shared. But now is your time. We're going to put you to work. So thank you for being here for this. This is really the most important part of the evening. Think about which nonprofit you want to spend time brainstorming with. We have Dignity Made over here, and we have Operation Dignity International over here. In just a moment, I will allow you to switch sides if you would like to do that, but I have a couple of instructions for you first. So this is a great time to throw away your trash also. We have recycling and trash as you're moving. If you would like to stay on this side, but you want to switch tables to meet others, that's great, an opportunity to connect with even more people. During this time, the executive directors will be walking around to tables, so if you have particular questions for them that maybe that was burning when they were presenting that you didn't get to ask, they will be walking around so that you can do that. And remember, this is the key part of it. I would love for you to be as detailed and specific as possible with your suggestions and your brainstorming tonight. So I like to think about it as this. Think about you're flying an airplane. You're up at 30,000 feet, right? You can see the general landscape. You see the broad view. But then if you're actually walking down that street, you see the details. You see the signs. You see the exact path to take. That's what we're looking for tonight. That detailed and specific suggestions. You're providing clear, step-by-step directions that someone can actually follow to reach their goal. So that would be most helpful for the executive directors. So hopefully that helps. We're extremely grateful for you. So now you can switch to the table you want to be at and go and brainstorm. Thank you. All right. I hope you got enough time to brainstorm at your table. I hate to cut this off because this is so fun to hear all of your wonderful ideas. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of you who are here tonight. I just have a couple of closing announcements, and then you can get back to talking and chatting again. All right, wonderful. So a couple of announcements. I do have, if you are new tonight, at the end of the night, we have something special for 4 of you who are new tonight. So that's to come. But I'd like to invite you to join us for 2 AMP accelerators. This is what's coming up next. For Dignity Made and Operation Dignity International, you can attend one or both of them. If you have been with us for many years, you're probably familiar with hearing these AMP accelerators be called AMP sessions. We're calling them AMP accelerators now. The whole point is that after tonight, the executive directors are going to take your summary report of ideas and connections that's compiled from your ideas tonight, and we're going to work with them in creating a 90-day plan of 3 to 6 steps, action steps of moving forward to help them solve their challenge that they put before you tonight, to help them solve that question that they put before you tonight. And so they're going to come to that AMP accelerator with that action plan, ready to ask you how you can walk alongside them. They may still need some resources to help implement that action plan. They may still need some people to help walk alongside them on that journey. So we're asking you to show up on that Zoom call and be with us at that meeting and hear from the executive directors again about how you can still continue to move with them in their journey to help solve that obstacle and that ask that they put forward before you tonight. There is a place for you to RSVP on your form for that, and then also we'll be sending out an email. So if you aren't quite sure of your calendar, you can look for that email and RSVP there too. Our next meeting is coming up on May 13th, and we're going to have one of our partners who is in the room tonight, Aaron Bogot. He is going to be sharing that with us that night on the theme of Embrace Wonder. And also we will have 2 really, really neat nonprofits presenting that night, Art to Heart and Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops. So we hope that you can join us on May 13th for that special evening. You will find survey cards on your tables. There's also a QR code here. We would love for you to fill those survey cards out. We do take your feedback very seriously, and that's important for us to be able to hear from you so that we can always continue to improve. All right, we'd love for you to stop by the volunteer table as well on your way out. Will be people out there that can help you get plugged in as a consultant or a mentor, help with tonight and make tonight possible. We do really treasure all of the volunteers. Speaking of volunteers, those of you who are facilitators tonight, thank you. And you get a special gift. Those plants that are on the table that were gifted to us is a gift. Now all of you want to become a facilitator. I know. But our facilitators get that gift tonight. If you are new with us tonight, I have a bowl here of all the new people in the room. And Schuler Shoes has decided to give us gift cards to give out during this evening. So bonus, if you're new in this room tonight, I'm going to draw 4 names so 4 people can come up and get a Schuler's gift card. The first name is Carla Peterson. Okay. Ron Eckert. If Ron's not here, I'm going to draw another name. Robin Edgar. I know Robin's here. Yes. Okay. Chris Dufresne for Fresne. Yay. All right. And Mel Nelson. All right, woohoo! All right, now I would love for all of you who are new to stand. We're not going to ask you to share anything tonight, but I just want you to all look around. And if you've been attending Amplify, this is who I'd love for you to say hi to tonight. And to all of our new guests, thank you for being here. So that is the conclusion of our evening. Please stay and connect with one another. We are so incredibly grateful that you are here with us.